clicking on this video. Hope you're having an awesome day. Thanks for taking a few minutes every day to hang out with me. Today's video, I'm super excited because I have the new Lunar Beauty spring release. Manny came out with the Moon Prism blush palette, which blushes are new to his line, so I'm very curious to see how the formula is. The swatches were gorgeous. We will do some face swatches in this video. I do have foundation on, that way we can see how these blushes show up. I naturally have some redness to my face, that's why I didn't want to do bare face swatches, and if I'm gonna wear blush, I'm gonna have foundation on anyway. Just figured that might have been like the best approach. And then I also picked up his glosses. I haven't tried any of his lip products yet. I felt like all three gloss shades could possibly work out for me, so I just wanted to see what the hype is about. This collection really caught my attention. The price point I felt was fair. It was $60 for a bundle. You could get a gloss bundle if you didn't want the blushes, or you can just buy the blush palette alone. I don't necessarily need more blushes in my collection, but I really enjoyed the shades that he chose. And same with glosses. I have a lot of gloss, but it's something that I've been reaching for a lot more recently. Not necessarily to wear alone, but over a matte lipstick. So we're just gonna do some swatches and giving you guys my first impressions, how I think the blushes and glosses perform. I'll link my reviews playlist to watch previous collections that were reviewed. And if you haven't already, please subscribe and give this video a like. Let's get swatching. Also on my eyes, I am using the Hank & Henry Sweet Tooth palette. This is my first time using Hank & Henry shadows on my eyes. I really enjoyed this palette. The only thing that I didn't like was these two shades look very similar to each other when applied. And then also this shade was very lackluster on the lower lash. I ended up going back in with this shade, so that's why my lower lash might be a little bit more shinier. I really like this yellow in the inner corner. I know, right? Yellow, a shade that I typically don't grab towards, but it was calling me. It's just so gorgeous. Let's take this out. Like, these moons are a little bit raised, so just take note in case if you are trying to store it and you're wondering why there's some weird separation. I love that it's called Moon Prism. It reminds me of Sailor Moon when she goes, Moon Prism power! Ta-da! Oh, these are just so gorgeous. I say this every time, like it's just right up my alley, but I love blushes. I go blush crazy. I really love a dramatic blush on the cheeks. I don't know why, just trying to be some goals for my man Jigsaw. But let's do some swatches. Ooh, that is soft, so creamy. Oh, beautiful. Pink Moon Twilight Spacey. Speaking of Twilight, she's releasing a new book. How do you guys feel about that? I couldn't stop laughing because that was during the high school years. Those years were rough. I really enjoyed the books. The movies, not so much. We'll see. I'm here to give it a chance. Those swatched so nice, so much pigment in them too, even though like this one is more of a coral blush, something I tend to like stay away from. I think like lightly built up will look really pretty. I haven't had like the best luck with a lot of more orangey blushes. I'm like forever scarred from a Cargo blush that I got, and it just was not cute at all. It looked like my cheeks were sunburned. Also, when I do my face swatches, I was able to have 6 brushes that can be used for blush. I know some of these are a little bit larger than others. That way each shade has a clean brush when applied on the cheeks. Every time I'm trying to say blush and brush in the same sentence, my tongue just tongue twists like crazy. That dyslexia be kicking in. And the bottom row. SOLEIL Stargaze Gravity. Oh my gosh. Normally glowy blushes kind of scare me. This shift is to die for. I really am obsessed with all 6 shades. I really thought Gravity was gonna pull a lot darker. The pans are huge and you get 6 shades for $35. Like, how could I not pass up this collection? And it's sold out so quick. I know, I'm like struggling snapping with this band-aid. We are going to do some face swatches, and I think we'll just go in order. The biggest brush that I have is by Moda, and I figured with Pink Moon I can like build it up dramatically because it did swatch very light on my arm. It's so pretty on the brush. Like, it's so faint right now. So that's with one coat. We'll go back in, showing up a little bit more. Very nice for like those natural neutral looks, or a nice winter blush. That's it on the cheeks. Gives it a very natural look. It's really hard to tell between the side that has blush and the side that doesn't, but I hope you guys can see the difference. At least I can, with some of this texture being emphasized, that there's something other than just foundation on my face. Now I don't have bronzer on. That is another caveat to consider, but hopefully with just foundation you guys can get a good idea. I also have medium skin tone. I pull a more neutral undertone. I'm gonna go very light with this next blush because it is like the more scarier blush for me, and this is a Luxie 514 blush brush, and I'm just gonna tap very lightly. Like a lot was picked up in those two light taps. So yeah, and it's super pigmented on my cheek right here. But once it's diffused out, it's a really nice shade. I like this a lot more than anticipated. Like I figured out of all of these 6 shades, this would be the one that would get no use. I don't necessarily know if I would go in with a second layer. I've just been swirling the first layer on and it is just gorgeous. I feel like a second layer is gonna make it really dramatic and I'm not gonna like this shade as much as I am right now. So I'm glad that I'm able to find a nice balance to be able to use this shade. But I guess for reference, I'll do the 2 taps again. Yeah, like it's building up to being jigsaw for me. Now I do love to go blush crazy, but a shade like this that is already out of my comfort zone is a little too much, but the 1 layer is perfect. Maybe for the summer and like a bronzer, I might need this extra layer. Luckily it's not too orange. That was another fear I thought I was gonna pull, because on the swatch it definitely pulls a lot more orange. The next shade we have is Spacey. I'm gonna be taking this SL Miss Glam MS05 brush to apply. I'm noticing a trend. Each blush shade is picking up a lot of pigment on each brush, so I would definitely be a little bit more cautious when you do dip in and then blend out and then just build up to your liking, because otherwise there will be so much pigment. Ooh, this is one of my like ideal blush shades, and I think 2 layers is going to be perfect. I see a bronzer complementing it so nice and really emphasizing the cheekbones when I put on a highlighter. Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous. I think this is my favorite shade so far, and I think this is going to be my favorite shade in the entire palette. I have a type, okay? SOLEIL, I am very excited for. This is like the only blush that's going to be a little bit more glowy, while the rest of them are matte. And you don't need a lot. I think I went a little heavy-handed in there, because at first I was like, is it picking up? And then I went in a little harder. I'm like, yep, she there. With some gold highlighters and a bronzer, this is going to be stunning. It looks a lot more pink in the swatch, but I only see the glow shift on my cheek. Let's try a second layer and see if the pink shows up a little bit. I'm not really into glowy blushes because I think that makes me look really greasy, but this is so natural that I see myself wanting to use it. I'm shook. This shade definitely caught my attention in this palette, but I didn't think I would like it nearly as much. Just like how Twilight took me by surprise. Now that I'm looking straight forward and not to the side, that I see more of the pink shift over here. So maybe in like the right lighting, you'll see the shift, and then you'll see the pink, which is really cool actually. We're gonna go into STARGAZE, and I have a Luxie 502 large powder, so, ooh, oh dear. I might need to grab another brush because a little bit of gravity got into it, and I don't wanna compromise the swatch on the face. Be a little bit more careful. This is a Complex Culture Press and Set bronzing brush. So beautiful on the brush. And this is 1 layer. Oh my gosh, this is so pretty. Now I don't know if Stargaze or Spacey is my favorite. I really liked how it looked with both layer 1 and 2. It goes with this look so nice. I think it can go with some natural looks, maybe even some smoky eyes. I feel like this shade is like the most versatile for me in my skin tone. I've never been this shook over a blush palette before, and the formula is just so nice. It just applies so nice on the face and it blends out super pretty too. And then lastly, on this Aesthetica P12 brush, we're gonna go in with Gravity. I did go super light-handed in with the first layer. I was just afraid of how like brown this blush shade was, how it was gonna show up on me, and I didn't want it to look muddy. I like this shade, but I'm not completely obsessed with it like how I am for the rest of the palette, but I think that this would be good for like those really bronzy looks. I don't know why I'm just not crazy about this shade. It's a shade that's very different from like the typical blush shades that I usually go for. There's nothing wrong with the formula or how it performed. It's just not a preference of mine. It doesn't take anything away from the actual shade. It's something that I'm just gonna have to get used to out of my comfort zone, like how I have lashes on today. Baby steps, progress. I'm determined to find a look that I will really enjoy that blush for. Overall, I really enjoyed this blush palette. I see myself wanting to reach for this every single day. I probably will for like the next few weeks, so you'll definitely be seeing this palette in action in some upcoming videos. I really loved all these different shades. I really like how none of them are like that identical to each other. They look so unique and beautiful. I'm really speechless on how shook I am, how this just performed. They're very soft blushes. They applied really nice and blended out so good that I just have no complaints at all. I think you can get so much use out of them with so many different looks. I really hope this isn't limited edition, because if I ever run out and I can't get it anymore, I would be super sad, but I'm glad I have it. At first I was a little disappointed that it wasn't a palette, but I'm really glad that he went with blushes and he created this really awesome formula. I really hope to see more blush shades in the future, maybe as singles or another blush palette for another launch. And then we have the glosses, which I am super stoked for. We have Selene. Now this one I was a little nervous for because it is a shade that I usually do not go for. That's how some of the blush shades are too, and I have fallen in love. Ooh. It is stunning on the swatch. It just has like a beautiful shift to it. I really like the doe foot as well. And we are going to be swatching all three glosses on the lips. Ooh. This is a bomb gloss formula. I not only was able to swatch it, but I was also able to apply the gloss without having to re-dip in the component. This gloss is not sticky at all. It's probably the most comfortable gloss formula I have ever put on my lips, and I have the driest lips ever. And one thing about glosses that I really like, I really enjoy the sparkles in them. Like if I see sparkles on the swatch, I really want to see some sparkles on my lips, and I see the sparkles on the lips. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna really like this champagne color on me. I'm still a little hesitant on it. Maybe it's like the really glossy effect that it's giving, but I think it can go over so many other different lipsticks and give it like that really pretty sparkle and shift to it, which I'm really excited for. This is very similar to the gloss that I got in the Mulan ColourPop, and I didn't really like that gloss because it wasn't as sparkly, and I think this is like the sparkly sister to it. Kind of in shock that this is a gloss and it still looks really glossy even with talking and moving my lips. Like it's not losing any of like the shine or sparkle effect to it. The second shade is Moon, and I was a little afraid of Moon as well because it's such a light pinky nude, and these shades usually look so bright on me that I don't even bother. But it is absolutely gorgeous. I'm a little nervous, but it might surprise us like the rest of this collection has. So So it's still a little too light for my liking, but if I recall correctly from his launch video, he said use a lip liner, and that's exactly what I was thinking of when applying. I'm sure I have a lip liner in my collection that would look really nice with this shade, but I think that's what I personally need because it's definitely not my cup of tea shade. Like I really like my rich red, plums, and purple vampy shades, so this is definitely out of my comfort zone for sure. I probably have some lipsticks as well that this would look beautiful over. The last gloss shade is Starlight. Very excited for this shade. Ooh, this shade is really pretty. I think this one is up my alley the most based off the swatch. And I accidentally put it back in the tube, damn it. I think I just found the most perfect gloss for me ever. It just works out really nice with my natural lip color that it just gives like that gloss effect. I really liked how each gloss was very consistent with how it feels and how it applies. Overall, I hated the collection. I'm just kidding. If you can't tell, I absolutely love this collection. I think everything just worked out super well. I am just obsessed with this blush palette. I really like the formula on top of which shades he decided to choose for this color story. I just think that each blush is very versatile, can go with so many different looks. It applies really nice and blends out so pretty. I know this is going to be something I'm going to be constantly reaching for, which makes me a little sad because I don't want to hit pan. Maybe he should explore into blush singles. And then the glosses. Holy crap, the formula. Not gonna lie, I thought he was tooting his own horn, being a little extra about his gloss formula, and then I put it on my lips and I was shook. There's just no stick to it. I absolutely hate stick in my gloss formula, especially when it's windy outside and your hair gets in your face, and then you slowly peel your hair away and then you got gloss all over your face, it's in your hair. I definitely want to look into more shades that he might already have. I think he knocked this collection out of the park. It's a really nice collection. There was a lot of releases that week. This, Cremated, and the Tread Mood box. It was almost like Hunger Games, what to get, and this was definitely a collection I knew I absolutely had to get. I'm so glad that I did. I love every single product in here, so I definitely am curious to see what is on deck for Lunar Beauty's launches. I really want to see him expand a little bit more on his blushes. I know it's very new for this collection, but it's a really nice formula. I think that he can formulate so many more shades. I would love to know if you guys picked up anything from this collection. Did you pick up the blush palette or the glosses or both? And how did everything work out for you? And if you didn't pick up anything from this collection, do you plan on it? What are some of your favorite Lunar Beauty products? I know I definitely need to get on the highlighters. Thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Don't forget to subscribe before you leave, and if you don't, I appreciate your view anyways, and I'll see you in the next video.